Hello and welcome back to the Coffin Lounge. I'm your host, Vampire Kitten. I am here with Ed of Apparition Bar today. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. It's almost Halloween in my approximation. We have only approximately 1 month and 20 some days, maybe even less than that till Halloween. So I'm excited. You know, it's kind of a marker once August comes. You're in spooky season, by my opinion. I chart my entire life around spirit stores opening, so I'm pretty happy.
Okay. So I have a couple of questions. Are you, after 4th of July, immediately Halloween, spooky season?
You know, there's like the latent level of like I'm always in the spooky season vibe, but like I think it really for me like kicks off at like August 1st is when I'm like, I feel like you're trying too hard if you're in July being like, it's Halloween's almost here. Like, I feel like once you're in August, you're in the quarter of August, September, October is spooky quarter.
Right.
And then, you know, otherwise it's pre-spooky quarter and post-spooky quarter. And then there's midwinter. And so that's, you know, really how I look at the world at all times. You know, in a way, the season of November, December, that time is, you know, kind of spooky season recovery. You know, you have some spooky season aftershocks with like Christmas vibes.
Well, you
midwinter. You got spooky court. Yeah.
So I feel like November is pretty spooky inherently, like in itself, because you're following Halloween, then you got Dia de los Muertos, and then you've got like Krampus, like right in there, like nestled right before, you know, December or as December starts. So I feel like November is still kind of its own like spooky season, especially like with the weather changing the way it does, you know? I feel like it's a little eerie.
November.
I do too.
Yeah, I love it. I love NaNoWriMo. Like I love writing. Like usually if things work out with my business, if October's been really good, I can rest a little bit. I can kind of go into my hobby of writing in November and like sit around, and it's getting a little cold outside. The pumpkins are still around. You still got the mass amount of pumpkin spice that I pre-purchased just sitting around available for consumption still. You know, by July, your pumpkin spice
Gone.
It's dwindled. It's
The
hard
reserves.
time. I don't know how people of the past did it. You know, you can try it sometimes. We tried to make our own pumpkin spice. We love our pumpkin spice. But yeah, no, I love November as well.
So let's talk a little bit about your work with, I guess, how you got started with the bar scene in Kansas City. And then we can kind of talk a little bit about like the pop-ups and you know, what you have like permanent going on. So how did you get started?
So I was a school teacher in the KCK parochial school district, and I wanted to open kind of a nerdy board game haven, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I created a business plan that really did not possess much business sense after the fact, but I went about it and got three of my friends together. We opened Pond and Pint, and we put together the $20,000 we thought was necessary to open a brick and mortar alcohol serving business, which is future reference, not the amount you need. But we did that, and we were really psyched about it, except we couldn't get a liquor license. So Pond and Pint was in the crossroads for a year, but through Kickstarter, through people actually liking coming and playing board games and hanging out with each other, building like a geek space in that regard, we were able to evolve and elevate that from just like room with board games to move to River Market, where we were able to open a full bar. And then during the pandemic, my business partner and I split up. He bought my shares of Pond and Pint, and then I moved and took that money and also did a Kickstarter to build the base to build Reroll Tavern in North Kansas City, which is a board game bar. At this point, having more experience than when I started it, and kind of like, let's do this. $20,000 should definitely do it. We kind of had a real idea of how business worked. Throughout all of that, in about 2019, I saw a giant line out the door of a super busy Christmas thing, and I was like, "What is this?" I feel like it's a miracle. It's a Christmas pop bar, and I was like, "Okay, so I'm so excited. What's the Halloween pop bar? Halloween pop bar? What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Okay." I must do this for society and myself. So we built Apparition. I worked with Adam and Brent from Screenland Armor. We utilized the attic of Screenland Armor, transformed it into a spooky lounge for the dead. You would come with a little lantern and you walk through the mists and cross the veil, and you pop out and you're there in the bar for the dead. And that was a huge success. I mean, people loved it because, like, of course they did. It's amazing. Halloween is so fun. And it really was ability to capture everything that Halloween means to me, being someone who has been dressing as Dracula since they were 5, building haunted houses in his basement, you know, just being in like school plays. I mean, I'm a spooky person, right? Like I don't know if I claim the moniker of being goth. I just love Halloween and spooky stuff deeply. You know what I mean? Like I just love horror, and I love horror, and I legitimately love spooky. And I think spooky and horror can be like, you probably have a better view of this. They can kind of be slightly different, because I think Midsummer is horror. It's terrifying.
It's really scary in its own right.
But is it spooky? I don't think it's spooky. It's like
creepy, I think.
It's
more
creepy,
than,
but
yeah.
like Adam's Family is spooky, but it's not really horror. You know what I mean? Like I think and so I love both of them. Like Midsummer is amazing. I love it. I love Ari Aster is just awesome. I love I'm a film nerd. I love all that stuff. But I also like if I were to decorate my home, or as I decorate my home, whenever me and my wife, she's this fae summer spirit, so it's always a battle of my autumn spooky skeletal vibes. I'm gonna put this picture up, and she's like, "That's a man's face in agony as he's stabbed," and I'm like, she's like, "No, here's a naked woman in a pot," and I'm like, okay, fine. I mean, I'm not going to hate it, but we kind of have this constant battle, and as you could probably assume, she wins. So I get to decorate my spooky bars, which is very
It's very cute. Okay, for those listening that don't know what Screenland Armor is, it's a movie theater. I haven't been there yet, but I know, don't they play older films and things?
Everything. So, I mean, they're just a locally owned movie. I say just. They are a locally owned historic movie theater. They play the hottest new movies. I mean, next time, if you're in Kansas City, I highly recommend going there for example, I went and saw Barbie there. I saw, Oppenheimer. All those shows are they play there, and they play the hot movies, and they also do old movies and replays of those, and meetups and things that feature with that. So, do a Panic Fest. So, you and Matt just need to go and watch a movie at this theater, because it's different. I don't know. I'm a local business. That's why I love local business. But the vibe of going in and being like, wow, that movie was awesome. And then you turn around and the clerk's like, wasn't it, man? And you talk, and then they've got speaking. It's super cool. It's what I love about local business. North Kansas City is great. That's what we kind of go for, play board games. And then you come up to the bar at Reroll Tavern, and the bartender's going to be like, what are you playing, man? Tell me about it. We're going to interface and have that.
I think what I most like, so, I'm obviously a transplant. What I think I most like about this city is that it's got that Midwestern feel, that really welcoming, everybody's super friendly kind of feel. But it's got a lot going on, and I don't think people realize how much it actually has going on for it. Everybody just thinks it's this flyover city, but in reality, there's tons of stuff happening here, all the time.
Yeah, well, it's great. It's the thing about I grew up in San Francisco, and I was born in Baltimore, and spent a lot of time in New York, and I've been in these places. There's a lot of cities I feel like you can go to right now, and just the wait time is there. Everyone goes there. They're on the national. Everyone's this is amazing. Look at San Francisco. You're going, it's gorgeous. But it's built by dead old people or rich people who are now old. It's okay, cool. It's already been done. And if you're interested in a place where you can do something, humans, you got to find frontiers, and you got to find places where there isn't something happening usually, so you can make something happen. So if you have an idea for things you want to make happen, it has to have kind of the market of people who are willing to spend money, people who are usually, younger. So there's excitement and hype associated with that. And there's fun new stuff you can do that, maybe older people would like, but generally people are set in their ways more the longer they live, which just makes sense. But like Kansas City, like has a huge amount. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like the fact, like I bet I'm going to play Dungeons and Dragons when I'm 80. God help us if I make it to 80, but I'll probably be doing the same stuff I like right now. It's just that won't be the new hip thing. But like, because Kansas City is a city that if you're 25, 30, you can like live and like maybe actually buy a house, which is insane for a lot of America. Like I don't make a huge amount of money, but I own a condominium. Like I own my own, me and my wife own a little condo that we bought. And it's like the idea of that in San Francisco is insanely impossible.
It's unrealistic.
For someone like who makes $40,000 a year, it's not happening.
Right.
But here you can make $40,000 a year and be like, I go out to eat once or twice a week. I can put some money aside for saving. It's not, anything that gets gave. But because of that, I'm getting off track as I always do. Because of that, there's actually more people who are living here who will actually spend money, and they're not bajillionaires who have specific strange tastes. They're regular people, and thus you can have ideas like Apparition and vignettes and reroll, a place like Screenland Armor, and local businesses can thrive because regular people have a small amount of disposable income that they're willing to put to their enjoyment of community spaces.
That is so correct. Like I don't think people think about that. Like I know the economy is kind of in the hole right now, but for the most part, I think that everything's been moving pretty well out here, despite all of that. Just because it's easier to live. Like also, it helps that gas is only like $3.40 a gallon, and not $8. So I think that definitely helps. Okay, so Apparition. Now you're doing these. You have reroll, you have Apparition, you have vignettes, which I don't think we've really talked too much about vignettes. It's like a pop-up bar, yeah?
Yeah, so vignettes is a pop-up cocktail bar venue. This is like one of the proudest moments I've had. It's just like in a ridiculous level is the fact that I heard someone refer to what we do as vignettes. So like, I'm going to a vignette. And because what we do, we put on a pop-up bar. We create a fully immersive experience that you go to, and it's like $5 to go. It's not a lot, but then you go and you buy cocktails, and you have this experience. And whether it's Malibu Dream Bar, where you can rock out in your pink glam and kind of enjoy that, or if it's Stranger Drinks or things like that, we create this huge setting. It's an artistic installation that for about an hour and a half you go there, and you get to be transported to this other world. You get to have that Disneyland kind of feeling of I'm somewhere else. I'm in this experience. It's really, it's a show. It's an experience. And they've got music and stuff like that. And the bartenders make all the drinks specifically themed around whatever we're working on. So Sponge Bar, we're going to, be going to, we say Martini Bottom. It's kind of a little bit of a parody and play on one of our favorite animated shows.
It's very cool.
So yeah. So that's what vignettes. We have the Wild too, of course, which is the fairy-themed brunch place, cocktail bar that's involved. But
the Wild's really cool. It's definitely I love reroll, but the Wild is definitely like my vibe. I just love it there. The people there are so great. Just even the people that I've interacted with that just come in to have a drink, so cool. So cool. It's like great. Such a vibe. It's what?
Yeah, I want to hear more about your experience there.
No, it's a vibe. Like people are so friendly there. I think that also because I have been there a lot. The locals that come in there, they're like, "What is going on in here?" They don't even know.
Loving it.
They do. They don't know what to expect from the place, but they keep coming back, and it's so cute because I think they like to people watch too. And it's definitely a place for that. I think that every time I've gone in there, somebody comes in their Renaissance fair garb and they're just fully decked out. And I'm like, that's a lot of work, girl. But I can appreciate it.
It's a Tuesday.
Yeah, it's a Tuesday. Welcome in your Renaissance fair garb and your fairy wings. I love it. It's so fun.
Yeah.
um,
Well,
so
it's great. I mean, and it's gonna become auto court there soon. Where I'm prepping some crazy ideas for a kind of a show we're gonna do. But I mean, the Wild is such a weird thing because it's in Turner, Kansas, which is like this sort of like slightly kind of rural part of Kansas City on the kind of the fringe of like downtown Kansas City that we're like, and like it basically boiled down to a weird situation where we are a production company that does immersive pop-up bars. We have a bunch of props. My friend Jeremy had a restaurant that he didn't want to continue it there, so he's like, well, I want to keep making food. And I'm like, what if I just took all of my props and my friends and like, so hear me out. You're not going to believe me. I'm a cisgendered bearded dude, but I really love fairies. And he's like, bet, let's do it. And then we did it. Like, that's like, it's like what it is, you know?
It's really cute.
But it's interesting because like Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is also obsessed with fairies, and so is J.R.R. Tolkien. So there's a long tradition of storied individuals and of all genders, of course, who are interested in fairies, and that. So I just love fairy stuff. So if you ever want to deep dive on
it, you know what the vibe there feels like if I had to give it one word, it feels like it's definitely a gathering space, but it feels like a living room in somebody's like house. Like it's very comfortable. It's got like board games, but like you can, take one, leave one, books, take one, leave one, it's definitely something that is different that I have never seen before in a bar setting. And it's so cool. It's definitely really cool.
I'm so glad. Yeah. Our vision with it really had to do with just being a place we actually really wanted to be. I mean, it's we're fortunate enough that we're not in an arrangement there where it's like, we have like a huge amount of rent. So we're really kind of able to play and build a place that isn't trying to do $6,000 nights to make sure that we pay our bills. But it's really about, making, we need customers obviously to make it happen, but it's about having a nice place, plus I love going there too.
It's really nice. Plus the tea options. Oh, so good.
You go tea.
I love tea. But when I travel, I know this is probably really bougie. I'm like a tea bougie person. When I travel, I bring my own tea bags because I can get hot water, but I can never get a good cup of tea. So I will have tea bags in my luggage, just like a ton of them. Traveling. It's terrible. Because I like always can get hot water.
Now, like they stop you and they're like, you're there and you're already looking suspicious because you have fangs and you're airport security and you're walking up and you move up and they're there and the guy, probably some like just giant. What are these bags that you have? Vampire child, why do you bring these? And I just imagine it. You're like, it's not drugs, I swear, it's just tea. And he's like, prove it, and then there's a whole thing. But that's I'm sorry, I'm probably like reciting things you deal with all the time.
No, actually, I try really hard at the airport not to be a menace to society. Like I will wear zippy boots and I will have all my jewelry taken off and I will just be like casual, comfortable, all black, but I still get looks and I almost always get stopped and I don't know why.
I get super bored in airports, so like I'm always like if I'm like, look, there's a spooky goth chick walking by, like in a cool outfit, I'm gonna be like, that's interesting. That's so much better than sitting in this line wondering if I forgot to empty a water bottle. Like that's dope. So,
right.
Thank you for rocking an interesting aesthetic while you walk around.
Terrible. All right, so let's get back to Apparition. Halloween season's coming up. What are we doing? Do we have plans or what's going on with Apparition?
So many plans. Not all plans that I can tell yet, but we have many plans. We're going to make a big announcement about everything, but we've taken Apparition, so the bar for the dead, by the dead, spooky undead concept. We've got these cocktails that are the weirdest things you have ever tasted, right? Like the regular vignettes cocktails are really delicious, really approachable. For Apparition, about 6 of them are that. About 6 of them are just fucking weird. We use Saskatchewan one-on-one. You can't fill your mouth while you have the drink. It's been designed so that you can consume this drink and you can't like feel what's going on. Like it makes your whole mouth like bubble. We've got pepper punch. It's insane. Szechuan peppercorn. It's used in a lot of like. I no idea what country it's from. And I'm not gonna guess, but it's like little peppercorns. They go on we rim it like it's a martini, and we'll tell you, but when you drink, you're like, what? It's insane. It doesn't take very long for it to go away, but it's like kind of a weird thing. I mean, our big thing is like doing weird stuff. We want to like take you out of this, and like we've got super approachable drinks like the Phantasm, like smooth and delicious. We've got the Monster Squad that's filling with dry ice. And we've got the blood bags. We've got things that come in like souvenir potion. We go crazy. We love cocktails, weird cocktails. What we're also doing is we're taking it and we are partnering with a variety of other bars, restaurants around the city, around the world, actually, to work with them to help them put on their own Apparition Speakeasy. So what we've done is we utilize Open Table, and we have this whole methodology. We have a layout of how we build the bar and everything, and we work with people, and we're effectively selling them the rights to do Apparition, and they work closely with us to make sure it's up to create the Halloween pop-up experience.
All right.
Say that joke. Yes. I know we've seen some technical issues, and I do want the viewers to know that this is actually using an AI to create my voice. I actually just say meow 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 the entire
all AI.
time. That's all.
All
AI.
AI.
Amazing. Speaking of AI, can I just like real quick give you a non sequitur chaos that has happened in my life with AI?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm super off topic here.
No,
but,
it's fine.
We're doing Sponge Bar, right? So we're super hyped about this next pop bar. I post the logo, and I'm like, come to this place, it's going to be dope. No pictures, because as you know, I build the bar over a week.
Right.
Well, somebody, not me, not authorized by me, not authorized by my company, not working at my company, goes on AI and says, what would a Sponge Bar pop-up bar look like? They create pictures, and they share it on this website to everyone. They go, look at this SpongeBob themed pop-up bar that's coming to Kansas City. Look at this. And I'm like,
who did that? What? You're like, no.
And I don't know if I should be mad, because like on one hand, like it got 5,000 shares. And it's not my fault, but like it's not my bar. Like I don't know. Like I got like I'm booked, and it's not like I haven't made these reservations. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I'm like, they're gonna come in and I'll be like, just don't understand, this doesn't look like the pictures. And like, because there's the pictures are the computer that I didn't do. Like it's like if I were to like try to catfish people and then set someone else up on a date. Like I'd be like, hey, you want to come meet my friend Todd? And like you see a picture and you're like, that's Ryan Reynolds. And I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be great. And you show up and Todd's just Todd. Like I hope Todd's good looking. He's not Ryan Reynolds. Like I just don't know. So it's gonna be an experience.
AI has created so many challenges in our lives lately, like from advertising to just art. I can tell AI art apart from other art, but a lot of people can't, and that's what's scary.
Yeah, it's like a fantastically interesting tool to have when you're like, I want to generate a D&D scene to show my friends what's going on, and
right.
But or like little stuff, but like nothing. I mean, it's definitely not there's no originality spark to it. It's replication in general. But yeah, no, it's crazy. Robots, man. You've interviewed James Liggett already, though, so you've talked to Robot Man.
We did talk to Robot Man.
Robot Man knows everything. I'm just but a humble fool living in this world.
Okay, so do you have? I guess let's get back to Apparition, because technical difficulties. But what is going on this year? Do you have anything solidified yet, or are we still thinking
nothing
about
solidified
it?
yet?
Okay,
but we're well solid. It's all behind the scenes. But I will say this: we're talking. Obviously, Apparition is our Halloween pop-up bar, and we're working out. That's like we're working out. The locations we're going to be doing at, because we've done all sorts of things. We've done it, above Screenland Arm Movie Theater. We've done it in a literal morgue. We've done it in board game bars. They're all places that get haunted.
Right.
And the great thing about this is anything can be haunted. There are places that are more fun if they're haunted, right? If you're like, welcome to the haunted Walmart, I'm like, this is literally hell. I don't want to go there.
Welcome to haunted Walmart. If somebody said that to me when I walked in a Walmart, that would probably be my new favorite Walmart.
It would be a better Walmart. No, the part that would improve, Walmart would be improved by the haunting, but I do think the haunting would be like less good because it's in Walmart. Like that's kind of my vibe on that. But we're We're working on our locations. We're talking to a lot of businesses about partnering. Because kind of what we're doing this year is we've got these weird drinks, this weird stuff, all this stuff that we're looking for businesses that want to partner, that want to have the thing to create a business or to have a business to use their back room to create a Halloween pop-up bar, Halloween experience that it's been very, very busy when we've done it, and it's been very successful. And it is a very bizarre and interesting experience for the customers. And they love it, and they flock to it in how it's done. As we're on our 4th year here, it's taking Kansas City by storm. We've also done franchises and licensees with people across the Midwest who have also been interested in doing it, and they've had great experiences. Like during the pandemic, because of the fact that it was a sit at a table by yourself, or not by yourself, but with your 2 friends. And it was like at the end of the pandemic, people were coming back out, but not like coming back out all the way. Like not going to go to a dance club, but they're like, you would go and sit at a cocktail bar, like, you
can go get drinks
with another table and have an experience. It actually worked really well during that, and was instrumental in helping keep a couple of venues open that did it because they were able to make revenue that they wouldn't have made otherwise. And it's just, been really good ever since. We've just grown and grown and grown with what we've done with Apparition. I mean,
it's amazing.
So, yeah, but I've
really
got
cool.
2 possible really big things coming down the pipeline that I can't tell you about yet. So
That's
I'm
fine.
just gonna tease that spooky
tease.
Who knows? Yeah.
That's fine. That's cool. Okay.
No matter what happens, I promise it will fill the moniker spooky.
I know this is totally like a random thought, but I have a theory that because we're talking about Halloween and we did mention Walmart, I feel like if there was a zombie invasion, totally random, I think Walmart would be my fortress. I think it would be a good fortress because there's no windows, really. There's, you can shut the shutters. There's plenty of food. There's plenty of stuff to like sleep in. I feel like Walmart would be like the vibe for a zombie invasion.
I think I would just want to kill myself.
It seems like it would be terrible.
I think I would rather, if I'm in a Walmart for the rest of my life, I'm like, eat me, just go for it. Start here, I don't know, even drag me out in the sunlight painfully. Like, I just don't want to be in a Walmart. Walmart and Restaurant Depot, which I know your listeners are more nationally. I don't know if they go over Restaurant, but they're hell. I don't want to be there. Ever.
I mean,
yeah. But I'm glad, like, you can be the survivor, and like my zombie damnation can be like leading a horde of zombies into your Walmart.
So good.
Yeah, it'll be great.
But yeah, I think that's probably my survival plan is a Walmart, which now I've told everybody my survival plan, so it's probably going to be a terrible plan.
You have a lot of followers.
I know. They're all going to go to Walmart. So you do all of the bar stuff, which is really, really cool. But you also run Live, Laugh, LARP.
Indeed. And I haven't made as much content as I should on that. So Live, Laugh, LARP is my TikTok channel. It's about live action role play. And it's very much a hobby. But we go out and we fight each other with foam swords. We played, a game called Dagger here, which is a boffer LARP. And what that means effectively is it is a full contact sport. You're not hit people in the head, but it's PVC or microfiber wrapped in effectively camping pads, and you're just smacking people. And if you get hit, you die, you go back to spawn. The games tend to be like paintball games in general are like we're playing Capture the Flag or, Black Knight, where you're trying to kill one member of the team. And that style of game, and we do big, just clashes. So it's really fun, tactical combat in that regard. So Live, Laugh, LARP is my TikTok channel. I have about 50,000 viewers or followers on that.
Wild.
It is. I don't do, it's also wild how little I continue to do with it. I have this incredible audience, and my entire job is to promote things that I do. And I haven't posted in a week there. I'm like, oh, right, that's the thing. But it's all about LARP. So if I ever try to do anything, I'm like, hey guys, come to my bar. They're all like, funny man, we're here for the LARP. Don't you try to give us none of that corporate schmear. And I'm like, I'm sorry, guys. And then I go back to the LARP. But it's a great time. And you're one of the first, me and my buddy Dyer, we both did a lot of of Dagger here on TikTok, and that really took off. And then, of course, also I've collaborated with a lot of people with like Vampire the Masquerade, which is one of my favorite live action games. So it's totally different. But Dagger here is boffer and sword fighting and all that jazz, and then Vampire is all like, you're going to be like, hello, welcome, I'm going to pretend to be a vampire. And they're like, I try to bite you. And you're like, okay, well, rock, paper, scissors. You're going to play things out with that or flip a coin. It's much more like negotiated. And it's like this quasi, like there's a lot of like mechanics in like that style art because it's like a horror game. And you really want to like be like, dude, wouldn't it be cool if like you threw me across the room because like I insulted your sire? And you're like, bro, that would be awesome. Let's do this. And then you like move away and you do it. Or as opposed to Dagger here, which is really is like, I try to beat you, go, you know, and like try to be physically quicker, faster, stronger, all these things, and play a tactical game that has that element to it. Whereas Vampire is really about creating a story. And like, there's an element like of kind of feel we'll end up being a little bit of power gaming, building up systems and trying to like beat one another in the system, but at the end of the day, it's math and stat blocks. It's not necessarily reflective. It's more about a story in that, as opposed to Dagger here, which is really about the playing the game
fighting. Yeah.
I
think I always chop it up to like what's just in the field versus like I like it. What do I call it? Dialogue RP. Dialogue RP is my favorite. So I think that's why I kind of tend to gravitate towards like Vampire the Masquerade, and I run a GTA 5M server. And so like the characters that I have that do more dialogue RP are like my favorite. But, you know, they're not always interesting to somebody who like a cop who wants to be arresting a robber, you know? So like,
and I think it's important to like as role players to realize, and I've listened to a lot of D&D things, that they're both role play. They're both experienced role play.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, and I have a tendency, I like to play in a lot of these live action role play games, kind of like a little bit whimsical, not with like people who are kind of end up falling victim, who are not necessarily strong, you know, in a live action role play. And I like to play those characters, but like for a while it's like, maybe I'm a better role player because I like to lose sometimes. And I'm like,
losing's fun.
Real. It is fun, but
losing's so fun.
It's so fun, and I recommend doing it. But on the other side of it, the person who's invested is like, I want to play strong man who does strong stuff. Look at my dice. I do strong stuff. They're also a good role player. Like, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like sometimes there's like a thing where it's like in like games, like being less invested in your character stats means you're a better role player. And I'm like, I don't know if that's real. It just means you're kind of role player. Like if you want to play, like especially since a lot of games and role playing things have to do with like combat situations, like I don't think it's good role play to be like, I'm going to make the worst decision I can in combat and just hope this happens necessarily, or bad role, because if you're going to possibly die, you know, you're whoever you are, you're like, oh, fuck, what do I do? Now, if I'm going to play out a concept like there's things where I'm like, I'm scared, or I'm a megalomaniac and I'm going to make a decision based on the fact that, get behind me, I am Mercedes, come look at me and you shall bow. And they're like, nope, boom, 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 and I die. Yeah. That's fine. Like, that's a thing. It's a character arc. But if I'm just like, so I mean, I think it's important to like try to take both of those styles of role play and like be like, they're both role play. You know, they're both okay.
The more I have, so I've been role playing for probably for a really long time, because I used to be, oh my gosh, I'm about to age myself again. I used to role play in AOL chat rooms, like text-based role play. That's so ridiculous. And
no, I love it. It's great.
Anyway,
I mean, it's awesome. Like the first, like, dude, text-based roleplay is amazing.
I love text-based roleplay.
I feel like people don't
do it enough.
Like, I almost like it more than D&D, and I like it as much as I like LARP. So, like, you and I have talked about this. I know that you run the Fate GTA server, and you guys do more on voice in that channel, right?
We do, but we also have a Discord where people can post, like, roleplay that's currently happening, so they can write, like, a novel if they want about their character. So, like, there's options to do that sort of roleplay, or we like send each other emails in Discord, but they're all like, they all look like emails and they're in character emails, you know? So like we do have opportunities to text-based RP, which is really cool.
What's the year setting? Is the GTA game
We're
set in
modern.
2023?
2020, yeah, 2023. It's all modern.
Oh, cool.
And then we're also developing a Red M server. So I have a bunch of guys working on that right now, and they're doing a rule book and Red Dead Redemption. Did you hear about the 5M acquisition or Rockstar? Rockstar now is working with 5M. So as of yesterday, Rockstar and CFX announced that they're going to be partnering. They're working together in some capacity. And I kind of had a feeling it was coming because on January or June-ish time, they announced like no more loot boxes and no more like IPs and things that people were putting and selling in servers. So it's going to be interesting to see what that means for CFX, like the company that runs 5M, because it's got so many issues. It's constantly down when we're trying to do development work, or like it's this thing called Keymaster. So basically when people are trying to log onto the server, if there are outages happening at CFX, nobody can get on the server.
Oh wow, that's yeah.
So I'm hoping that the acquisition or whatever partnership deal they got going on helps with a lot of that, but we'll see moving into the future. But I have a feeling that because of GTA 6 possibly coming out, that they're probably trying to monetize, you know, get their pennies. So you know how that goes.
Well, hopefully it doesn't affect you guys too much. In it. So yeah, no, I love. I mean, I love hearing about like your stuff. I mean, just I think it's a really interesting. Like online role play is just an amazing thing. I know I run a World of Warcraft D&D game campaign we call the Silver Pine Society, and it's literally we're just immersed in World of Warcraft, and we play some of the voice, but a lot we play Dungeons and Dragons, but oftentimes like we were talking about, I love text-based role play because I like being able to reference what was said, and I like being able to type up and make, like, if I'm going to role play with you, whenever I'm speaking, there's a certain component of me speaking that is, don't let her lose attention to me. Don't let her stop paying attention to this conversation because we won't have a conversation. If I go, you're done. You don't give a shit. It's over.
Right.
You're not going to listen. I mean, not in any negative way. And so because of that, though, the way that we talk when we're pretending to be a character or things, you just get the, oh, I think we should go into the dungeon. You don't get the,
right.
Helen thought to herself that she was outnumbered. What would she do about this situation? And that part of writing that I think is very, it's lost, but it's also, I think, really essential for the benefit of writing and reading, of empathy, of how do I feel? How do I, get that? I've been recently reading and like pulling in different things that have been kind of helping me. We had a great session the other night that we were all on, just everyone was in text. It was super fun. So
that's really cool. But yeah, I definitely don't think text-based RPGs are done enough anymore. It's after, pen and paper started becoming popular, and then games and everything, I just feel like it's kind of a lost art, or it's becoming one. What got you into LARPing?
Well, I honestly, I always thought it would be a cool idea to do, but some guys came into Reroll, and they, talking about doing, like, I did the text-based role play online, so like that really, like, me, like I've been doing World of Warcraft role play forever. I mean, and so then I had people come into Reroll Tavern who just kind of were like, "Oh wow, you guys play D&D? Hey buddy, you ever try LARP?" And that kind of just pulled me in. There's this guy, Jake Wade, aka Skeeth, walks in wearing a shirt that just said Ragnarok and making stuff. I'm like, "Yo, Ragnarok, what's up, man? That's awesome." He's like, "Actually, it's this event of thousands of people hitting each other with foam swords every year," and I'm like,
"Sounds cool."
And then kind of pulled me into that shenanigans.
That's cool. So,
started and now it's I go every Sunday and I can't like stop. It's like my thing. Like if I don't go, like I'm really pissy. I didn't go last week and everyone's been dealing with it. I'm so sorry. I have to get to because you wallop pretty damn hard. Like I'll be out there and like I wear all this armor and stuff, but like it's like like bruised and beat up and like it's kind of like being sore.
It's kind of sorry, you cut out. It's kind of like being what?
Like being sore for the gym or something. Like I like being sore. Sometimes I break a bone or
gym
something.
Sore.
I like kind of getting my butt kicked a little bit and kicking butt.
So you're probably bruised all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Love it. Sometimes I got black eye. Sometimes feel there and like big old black eye. Like well, he got hit by a fake broadsword.
All right.
Held
So
by a very real man.
So you mentioned Ragnarok. So Vikings are your favorite, I guess, thing?
They're up there. I mean, I love all things. Like, I love history, and I love elements from history greatly. I'm a huge fan. I mean, I think everyone who has kind of a taste for adventure looks to the Viking Age often. If you like history and you go, this is an amazing time of a clash of cultures, of people going off and exploring, of sort of the tales that are held from, you know, great tale tellers, and put down the sagas, and all of that just resonates. And, you know, like the idea of like that, living in that time where you have such alien cultures colliding in Europe, and this clash of things, and it's just so interesting. And the way this like relatively short amount of time that the Viking Age is just this like insane time, because it's super interesting if you look at it from the perspective of random Norwegian dude who's like, I'm on a farm, my farm is dead, and some guy's like, yo, we're going across this water here, and we're going to go to this other place where there's super unguarded money. And he's like, bet. And there's these giant battles going on, and there are tactics, and they're capturing all this stuff, and they're in the Age of Plunder. Or if you look at it, and there's, you know, all the honor and the glory and all the kind of, you know, that element of it all. And then on the other side, like, it's super cool to see it from even the other side, which is like, these crazy dudes are coming and wrecking our stuff. Like, what do we do? Like, I like learning about like the Anglo-Saxons or the French, or like the different peoples trying to like defend against the Vikings or trade with the Vikings, or as they call them, the Danes most often. And how, not because it's not just interesting in the first, like, oh my gosh, giant armies of, you know, Scandinavians came in and just took all our stuff. This was one battle, and now we just fear them. But it's like, now we have a culture where you have populations that have settled, that are like from an invading force for years. You have the Danelaw in the middle of Britain, and you have like the way the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms are sort of pushed back, and how Ireland becomes, you know, has this, and just like being like someone who's very, very Irish culturally, you know, of course my family left in like the 1700s, but having that sense of like the Vikings, you know, coming through and everything, it's just super interesting to me. Like the whole idea of that time, you know, just excites me. And the mythology of the Vikings, or the, you know, those lost. I think it's part of the appeal of it, is that we really don't know the whole, right? Like we have like the Poetic Edda, but what we have of readily available, and I'm sure that some of your comments is going to correct me in some way on this, and that's totally fine. What we have of most of Viking religion is what was recorded from oral tradition by Christian monks. So, I mean, imagine if you took Christianity, didn't have any books about it, and it was recorded by a Buddhist. Like, all you're going to know about it is what this dude, who doesn't necessarily fully understand your world view, like, describes it as. So I think that also leaves the fact that, like, what we don't know and what we've kind of like just try to piece together, try to learn more, but also leaves a lot of room for imagination. That I mean, there's something very compelling about the idea at the end of the day of a bunch of long bearded people on a boat sailing up a river about to attack a village, you know, and then even in the or fighting one another, the shield walls, the dread, you know, and then yeah, so just love it.
So I feel like unfortunately some cultures have recorded their history better than others. We talked about this on another podcast, which is really unfortunate, because it would have been really cool to have more information. But you know, I think that's one exciting thing about Vikings versus, like, I think it's kind of got a comparison to the dinosaurs in a way, where dinosaurs, we don't really truly know what happened with them, and there is a lot of room for interpretation and imagination. They're saying that dinosaurs now have feathers, and they didn't have those before, you know? So, like, I think it's really interesting that we can kind of take it and sort of go, well, what if? You know?
I mean,
what
if you're going to what I think you're going to, I'm totally with you. I think that Viking dinosaurs is a great idea.
Yes, Viking dinosaurs are the best idea.
Ornosaurus.
There we
Be
go.
there like they're like little like scaly things because they didn't have feathers. They actually had beards.
Perfect. And they had
I'm
instead of beads, they had like rocks, like weaved in to their beards.
weaves. Yeah. Oh
yeah.
They're there. I mean,
So
like the Stegosaurus. Like, I mean, have you seen some of those like those skull dinosaurs? You know, probably misinterpreted, but they kind of look like monks with the hair around there with their bald heads running around with the tinctures. So you know,
let's go back to Vikings.
You heard it here first. Vikings are dinosaurs.
Vikings are dinosaurs. So can we talk about the Viking Fest?
Let's do it. Let's talk about
All right.
It's going to be at the St. Joe or Bluffwoods Renaissance Festival area. It's going to be in November of 2024. We're going to be creating a giant sort of celebration immersion to that time period. We're going to take people back to the Viking Age. And then we're not just going to take you back to the Viking Age. So we're going to take you to like every experience of your fictionalized version of the Viking Age to people who are like really deeply immersed in. So you're going to have the idea of like, look, this is exactly how it would have been. Look at the weaving that is an element here. And you've got this immersion here. And you can buy this, you know, type of honey that was actually used to make mead. And then you'll have the guy being like, let's throw logs together. Whoever throws logs the furthest, you know, gets a free pint of ale. And then we'll have folk music that's going to, at the beginning, kind of fitting into that, following into, you know, maybe more of that modern, what we associate with like modern, you know, Viking metal or things like that. They kind of take modern music, which I love. I'm a big fan of creativity. And for me, creativity is always when you take two separate things and you put them together, even that haven't been paired together. The person who said peanut butter and jelly should go together is very creative, right? In my mind, I don't necessarily, we have the information and we do not have power to go into anything outside of what we have. So we can only create with what we have, the tools and the way that people put those together. So like things like Viking metal are awesome, even though like, did they have electric guitars in 1100? No, I didn't know they were dinosaurs either, but you know, but it still rocks, and I'm about it because it's fun, it's exciting. You know, everything will have a room at Viking Fest. Our plan, you know, I mean, everything besides hate. We don't want to deal with any of that crazy bullshit and people who have totally like not historically relevant to Vikings at all conceived notions are not welcome. There's sort of some of these people have taken on, some hate groups have tried to take on identity from it that like they have no business doing. It just doesn't correspond at all with Vikings, and you know they didn't care about things like race. They cared about things like strength and taking your stuff. Totally different in that regard. But it's going to be just a huge, really fun festival. One of our big plans to work with people who've been involved with Burning Man to build a giant Viking pyre, to build a Viking ship. You'll go and be like, "Wow, look at that great ship!" Like around 10 o'clock.
That was a great description.
Thank you. I'm trying to roll with the fact I have to see my face, and I'm like, I have to do hand motions. But yes, and hopefully no one's listening to just audio there. What I just
it's split. So I feel bad for our podcast this time, but you know it's fine.
I'm so sorry they lost out, but I'll give them the man, a bearded man of about 32, moved his hands about, indicating that he was building a wooden ship of pyre, and then did a motion to explain that he was lighting an arrow on fire and shooting it at the pyre to cause a massive fire to be there.
Perfect. Thank you. That's for our listeners.
There you go. I only listen. I don't like. That's why I was like, when we're like, this has to be like, this is the biggest holdup on getting me on the show is like, I'm like always moving. I was like, well, I could just talk on the phone while I'm like on a 45-minute car ride, but
it's okay. It happens.
But Viking Fest is gonna be awesome. You know, we're still kind of getting it. Candace is actually helping coordinate everything.
Cool. So, just out me like that.
Yeah, it's all her fault.
It's my fault. Viking Fest is all my fault. So yes. Anyway, it'll be really cool. I'm excited. I think it's gonna be incredible. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun. And also, if you haven't been to Bluffwoods,
cool. Yes.
Bluffwoods is a great Renaissance fair, and it's new, and they're trying to make something really cool. So, highly recommend that one. What were you gonna say?
Oh, we just kind of like putting up the banner about it. We're like, hey, we're doing a Viking Fest. Do you want to be involved? So if you do, and you see this all, and you're like, I love Viking stuff. I have this crazy idea. I built this thing, or I do drums like this, or whatever. And you're interested right now, and you see this before we start coordinating anything, just send an email to me at edward@apparitionbar.com, and I can kind of get your information and
figure it out
and get it going.
So okay, let's wrap up because we've got a lot of information here. Where can people get involved with bringing Apparition to their bars?
Apparitionbar.com, and they can also just email me at edward@apparitionbar.com to learn more about how they can do that.
How do people? Okay, where, I guess, vignettes and everything. North Kansas City Reroll Tavern. I'll make sure that. Make sure we stick all the. Oh, sorry. I'll make sure we stick all the. Yep. Stick it all. Meow meow meow. AI cat.
Meow. Meow meow meow.
I'll make sure you stick it in the description below so everybody has that information. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to pop on the Coffin, the Coffin Lounge, and I'm going to show you actually the coffin that I had made for Apparition. I've got a new one made that's very svelty and awesome that maybe you can borrow at some point for a
Oh,
prop.
I'd love that. It'd be so cool.
I own 3 coffins at this point.
That's amazing.
Which is a normal amount of coffins.
For a normal person to own.
I am a normal person.
Well, Ed, thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate you, and this was really awesome. Where can people find you?
You can follow all of our shenanigans on Instagram, Vignettes Bar, Apparition Bar, Live Laugh LARP KC. They're all out there, and you're more than welcome to follow us on Facebook, or if you just pop up Reroll Tavern, I'm frequently there, and I'm all about it. I don't actually have a personal social media. Maybe I should to direct people to, but I've kind of been hiding away. Yeah,
that's totally fine. All right, thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of the Coffin Lounge. I will see you on the next one. Bye, everybody.
Bye.